After all those years, they finally opened it and gasped in shock. They had dreaded this moment ever since they first received the box, their minds often wandering to its possible contents. The fear of the unknown plagued their thoughts, conjuring up the worst scenarios imaginable. Yet, no amount of dark imaginings could have prepared them for the reality inside the box. What they found was beyond their wildest fears, an unimaginable horror that defied all their expectations. The contents were more terrifying than they ever could have envisioned, leaving them in stunned silence. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. James and Liz's relationship had been far from easy. It required immense effort and dedication to reach the point where they were now married, content in each other's company, and seemingly impervious to outside threats. Except for one thing. A box had lingered at the bottom of their wardrobe for 10 years. Its presence was a constant, uneasy reminder of the past. The box held a mysterious weight, casting a subtle shadow over their otherwise happy life. After all, they reasoned, the past belonged in the past, tucked away and forgotten. Yet despite their reluctance to open it, they couldn't bring themselves to discard the box either. Then eventually, their curiosity overwhelmed them. They approached it as a light-hearted venture, a mere joke. However, as they pried it open, amusement turned to shock. James and Liz had reached their 10th year of marriage. Neither of them were strangers to divorce. They met amidst the turmoil of separating from their previous partners. When they met, Liz had already been separated from her ex-husband for some time and had set up her own living arrangements. James, on the other hand, was in the midst of navigating the most tumultuous phase of his divorce. The scene was far from pretty as soon-to-be ex-wife pleaded and implored him not to leave. She resorted to desperate measures, employing a range of unsavory tactics, including emotional manipulation, mind games, and emotional blackmail. Witnessing her distress, James found himself momentarily torn, grappling with conflicting emotions amidst the chaos of their separation. But he had firmly resolved his decision. Returning to the torment of that relationship was out of the question. Even considering the well-being of their children, he believed they were better off far away from her toxic influence. It was staggering to reflect on how he once considered her the love of his life. She had been the one to present him with that box, a wedding gift, despite not being invited to the ceremony. Claiming to have heard about it through the grapevine, she bestowed it upon them, leaving James dumbfounded by the gesture. For what felt like an eternity, she had subjected him to a relentless onslaught of manipulation, lies, and emotional torment, his life into a purgatory of despair. But it hadn't always been that way. Again, as he reminisced about their early days, it felt as though those memories belonged to another lifetime. She had perfected the art of deception, skillfully concealing her true nature behind a carefully crafted facade. It was only when she finally let her guard down, revealing the darkness lurking beneath, that reality shattered the illusion of their past. James was a rare gem, coveted by many women. With his sharp intellect, lucrative career on the oil rig, and admirable humility, he was a prized catch. After years of diligent saving, he achieved another milestone by purchasing a luxurious condo outright. Yet amidst his success, there was an emptiness, a longing for a companion to share his joys and triumphs. Little did he anticipate that the next woman to enter his life would bring not happiness, but chaos and destruction, threatening to unravel everything he had worked so hard to build. While James' co-workers cycled through new girlfriends with each season, he stood apart. He admired their lifestyles but knew it wasn't for him. His heart yearned for something deeper, a genuine connection leading to settling down. Though patient, James was decisive when it mattered. So when his friends spotted him hand in hand with a stunning woman one day, they were left incredulous. It seemed James had finally found what he'd been searching for all along, someone truly special to share his life with. When James first encountered his now ex-wife, he was utterly captivated by her charm and allure. Andrea possessed a beauty reminiscent of a Hollywood starlet, her appearance exuding the elegance worthy of a Vogue cover. As James proudly introduced his stunning new girlfriend to his co-workers, their reactions were not what he expected. Instead of admiration, their silence spoke volumes. It was clear they were taken aback, though not for the reasons James had anticipated. While many of James' friends celebrated his relationship with Andrea, others couldn't shake off their nagging suspicions. Gay among them, Josh stood out, voicing concerns about Andrea's character. In Josh's eyes, Andrea seemed to epitomize selfishness, a woman relentlessly seeking attention at any cost. James, oblivious to Josh's reservations, couldn't predict the storm brewing on the horizon. Yet, as time unfolded, subtle warning signs began to surface, hinting at the complexities lurking beneath Andrea's captivating facade. Andrea's self-centered tendencies would surface, often attributed to a tumultuous childhood marked by her parents' divorce. Initially, their relationship flourished, seeming to be on an upward trajectory. Fueled by optimism and affection, they took the natural next step and exchanged vows. However, what appeared to be a seamless progression soon revealed itself to be a grave misstep in James' life. After 3 years of what seemed like marital bliss, James began receiving perplexing bank statements. Began receiving perplexing bans. And Andrea had access to his card for household expenses while he was at work. However, the grocery bills were alarmingly high, surpassing $300, followed by another $200 just days later. It seemed inconceivable that she could be spending $500 on groceries in such a short span. James couldn't shake off the suspicion that she might be pocketing cash backs from the store transactions. James's growing suspicions led him to believe that his wife might be engaging in infidelity. He's faced with the unsettling prospect of Andrea's potential betrayal. James resolved to take action. What he discovered upon his early return shocked him to the core, signaling the escalation of their marital turmoil to even greater depths of despair. Andrea, unaware of his early return, was taken aback when James unexpectedly walked through the door of the home he had toiled tirelessly to build. James's heart shattered into a million pieces as he stepped into the bedroom and confronted the stark reality of his partner's infidelity. Suppressing his rage, he calmly instructed the other man to leave and then turned to Andrea, delivering a firm ultimatum. He handed her a key to a hotel room along with $50 for cab fare, insisting that she depart immediately. However, Andrea defiantly refused to budge, further complicating an already agonizing situation. In a final bid to restore order, James instructed his security guard to contact the authorities. Fortunately, James had heeded his parents' advice and signed a prenuptial agreement before tying the knot. With Andrea not listed on the property deed, the police swiftly verified James as the rightful owner of the residence and proceeded to remove her from the premises. One would think that would mark the conclusion of the ordeal, but Andrea's vengeful nature proved otherwise, setting the stage for a protracted battle ahead. James swiftly revoked many of the comforts Andrea had grown accustomed to, serving her with divorce papers and reclaiming control over his finances, credit cards, and their shared home. It was a stark wake-up call for Andrea. James was no longer willing to bear the responsibility of providing for her. In a final blow, James had all of Andrea's belongings packed and placed into storage for her retrieval. But Andrea refused to passively accept this abrupt upheaval. Determined not to be cast aside, she resolved to retaliate in kind. James cherished his white Chevy Monte Carlo almost as much as his beloved condo. So when he returned home from another grueling shift on the oil rig several weeks after the breakup, he was devastated by what he found. Instead of his prized possession gleaming in its usual spot, he was met with a scene of vandalism. 4 flat tires, a shattered windshield, and a thick coat of red paint splattered across the car's exterior greeted him. As James surveyed the damage, his heart sank with the realization of the deliberate act of malice. While his friends speculated about the perpetrator, James harbored no doubts about who was behind the heinous act. Following the divorce, his ex-wife's demeanor underwent a startling transformation. The once sweet and kind woman James thought he knew seamlessly shed her facade, revealing a cavernous well of misery and bitterness. Her actions seemed intent on dragging everyone around her into the depths of her despair. James found himself teetering on the brink of despair, grappling with the notion that his traumatic experience had irreparably shattered his belief in love. However, just when he felt on the verge of losing all hope, amidst similar circumstances, she found herself emerging from a failed marriage, harboring dwindling hopes for love. As they eased into dating, James and Liz were pleasantly surprised by their mutual emotional maturity, navigating conflicts with ease. With time, James came to realize that his previous marriage had been fueled by fleeting passion youth had led him to wed someone he scarcely understood. In contrast, his connection with Liz felt imbued with genuine love. Thus, they chose to embark on marriage together. Despite their earnest attempts to forge ahead, James' ex-wife persisted in casting a shadow over their budding union. Her intermittent and inexplicable communications disrupted the tranquility they sought in their new life together. Even amidst the idyllic backdrop of their honeymoon, James was abruptly pulled back into the past by a call from her. Bewildered and unsuspecting of the turmoil it would unleash, he answered. The veneer of politeness in James' ex-wife's voice was unmistakable during their phone conversation. Yet, it was glaringly contrived, laced with a palpable undercurrent of animosity and bitterness, which James couldn't shake off the unease when he learned that she had somehow discovered their new address and sent a wedding gift. Upon their return from the honeymoon, the box awaited them, untouched. They made a conscious decision to leave it unopened, resolved to keep the specter of their past relationships at bay, safeguarding their newfound happiness. For years, the box remained nestled at the bottom of the wardrobe, a silent sentinel of bygone days. A decade later, curiosity and a sense of closure prompted them to unveil its contents. As they cautiously lifted the lid, their astonishment grew with each photograph revealed. Within the confines of the box lay a meticulously crafted album, a time capsule of James and his ex-wife's youthful escapades. Every page unfolded a narrative of shared moments, adventurous travels, the solemnity of their wedding day, and the intimate glimpses captured within the walls of their former home. Yet, amidst the flood of memories, a singular question echoed what complex emotions and motivations had driven her to assemble this intricate tribute. Could it be that she strategically selected these snapshots to elicit a twinge of envy from Liz, perhaps as a silent assertion of her enduring allure or a subtle jab at their intertwined history? James' ex-wife epitomized toxicity, her selfishness eclipsing any semblance of consideration for others. Even after James had moved on and tied the knot with another woman, she clung to him desperately, unwilling to release him from her grasp. The sight of those photos stirred a disquieting sensation within him, igniting a cascade of what-ifs and could-have-beens. What if he had remained entwined with his ex? Would their trajectory have diverged drastically from the path he now walked with Liz? Kenjin, as these thoughts swirled in his mind, he turned to gaze at Liz, seeking solace in the reassuring warmth of their connection. James recognized that chapter of his life had concluded ages ago, viewing his past relationship with Andrea as a string of missteps. He and Liz shared a lighthearted chuckle over his ex-wife's enigmatic mindset, before sealing the album shut, discarding it, and resuming their blissful existence together.